everyone, AlphaSoul here, and welcome to another video. This video is going to go ahead and cover 5 suggested changes for Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, the Battle Royale mode specifically. Now originally I wasn't actually going to do this video or do anything like it because the Battle Royale mode was really strictly a testing ground and wasn't going to be its own product. However, with the changes that Intrepid Studios has made and it's its own product, I figured this would be a fun video to actually go ahead and do, and it kind of keeps in line with the previous video that I've done kind of ranking the Battle Royale weapons. So without any further ado, let's just go into the changes or suggested changes for the Battle Royale mode. Now the first suggested change that I would make is in regards to the storm. Make it so that the final storm doesn't close all the way. Now I know this is a departure from most other Battle Royale modes, but what I've generally seen with most of the matches that occur is most tend to end with that final storm as it's completely closed in. Now when you had the dark packs kind of issue, they would all end that way with people jumping up and down. Now you have less games that kind of end that way, but personally I kind of find it more fun to actually, get the final kill and then, win the match that way rather than winning by default, if you will, because you're the one who lasted longer at the end or anything like that. That's just my personal preference. So what I would like to see is that final storm kind of be on that, I think it's like the second to last circle, not the very last one where it's just one tiny dot, but the circle where, there's still a decent amount of space to kind of move around in, and you can basically, if you had a clear line of sight, you could see everyone kind of within that circle. So that's something that I would like to see. Kind of suggestions kind of to enhance that. One, obviously they would have to make it so that you can't wind up on different planes. I've been in matches where some people have been in the underworld and another person has been, up here in the overworld, and they had no way of actually, getting to each other. So obviously that can't happen. The other thing that would be cool is once it hits that final phase, it highlights all active players left, or, name tags pop up of all active players left so that you can more easily hunt one another down, if you will. Again, my own personal preference there. Suggestion number 2, make all items viable. This is just generally one of my pet peeves in games. I hate it when games have items that just no one uses because they're absolutely almost completely worthless. One thing I like to see with games is just create honest balances between all of the items that are within games so that you can actually, make a choice in what you're picking up and use. Now there is choice within the Battle Royale mode right now, but it's not as much as I would like it to actually be. So make all items viable. Now the third suggestion that I have in order to improve on the game is to introduce more counter mechanics. Now what do I mean by that? This is closely linked to number 2 and making all items viable, because I believe that you can kind of do the two things mesh together. Take for example the Hemorrhage Mace, the Bone Smasher Mace and the Icy Step Boots. Currently, if you hit somebody with the Bone Smasher Mace, again, they're going to take that 10 damage every time they take a step. But what if you could pop the Icy Boots instead, and that would either cleanse the hemorrhage effect completely, or it would do something like add an added effect to the Icy Boots, such as, make Blood Ice or something like that, where not only do they get slowed by walking on your ice, but they also take damage from trying to follow in your footsteps and walk on ice. So it becomes kind of more of a reactionary thing that you can introduce into the game. Things like the Dark Pack Breastplate, for example, you can improve on that by making it more of kind of like either a status reduction or a status immunity, if you will. So let's say you pop Dark Packs and somebody had popped the Icy Boots. Well, now the ice is only 10% effective if you against you, and you run across it almost as if it's not there. So it becomes kind of a counter to that. Or you pop it, and if somebody had used the Darkness Bow on you, for example, you can see through there, but they can't. things like that, where there's a counter method and there's a use for every single item that you kind of have in the game, more so kind of, you know, than is today. And I think that inherently makes things a little bit more viable. So those counter mechanics where you have to think based on what your opponent did, and you do something else in retaliation to that, more of that to me is always more of a good thing. It's more of a strategic thing. It makes the combat, you know, more fleshed out, if you will. The fourth suggestion that I have: make mana more viable. Right now, it's a throwaway stat, if you will. The only time really that you're ever in danger of running out of mana, to be perfectly honest, is at the very beginning, and even then you're not in any real danger because it's so plentiful, so easily to come across, and it kind of cheapens the effect of some of the other items in the game, you know, like the Essence Reaper, for example. And you know, making mana to be more of a viable item, a viable stat, would go a long way to kind of increasing the depth of the Battle Royale of Apocalypse. And for my final improvement, fix the sound. Now, I know this doesn't really qualify as, you know, a suggestion for improvement just because it's more of a bug, but sound really should be fixed in this game, only because sound, that's how I find probably half of the people that are coming after me. It's due to sound. You know, you hear them coming, you hear them as they're moving across, and that's a clear indicator to where somebody actually is. So it makes it more frustrating when the sound doesn't work as it should. Now, again, this is not including things like catfall boots that purposely mute your sound. That is a good thing. It's things where, you know, you're supposed to be making a lot of noise. If you enter a house and you don't hear anyone coming in until it's too late, or something of those sorts. Or it's something along the lines of, you know, as even you're stepping and walking, you hear the delayed footstep and it sounds like somebody is after you. So it kind of throws you off. The sound is really rich in this game. It's really nice. It just needs to be fleshed out and perfected to the point where, you know, it'll be that true mechanism that serves. So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are my 5 suggestions in order to improve the Battle Royale mode for Ashes of Creation Apocalypse. Now, I'm sure you guys have suggestions as well. Please feel free, leave them down below, send me a message, or do whatever you gotta do. Always curious in hearing them. I love theory crafting, and that's kind of what I really enjoy. So that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, so leave your comments down below. Alpha Soul out.